a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today, we are kicking off a month of fan favorite movies as suggested to us by you, our listeners. And the first movie in the lineup is North to Home, which originally premiered on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries on January 9th, 2022. We would love for you to hang out with us outside of the podcast, and the best place to do that is over on Instagram, where we are Girls Gone Hallmark.
Come join us in our Facebook group, Girls Gone Hallmark, in Facebook groups.
We love your emails. We love your questions. We love your comments. We regularly share them in listener mailbag episodes. And you can email us your thoughts on these movies, on our episodes, on other content you're catching up with on Hallmark, including the movies that we are not reviewing this month. Email us at girlsgonehallmark@gmail.com. Let's dive into North to Home with a synopsis.
The McBride sisters reunite in Alaska for a memorable birthday celebration connecting their past to their present.
News and notes. North to Home is based on the novel The Christmas Sisters, written by Sarah Morgan. This is one of 2 Hallmark movie adaptations on her resume. The other is Two for the Win.
2 totally different movies.
Very.
North to Home was written by S.W. Sessions. Stephen, or SW, as he is sometimes known, has 29 writing credits and 6 projects for Hallmark. His Hallmark projects include A Season for Family and A Winter Getaway.
Ali Liebert directed North to Home. Ali is an accomplished actor and director. As an actor, she boasts 100 acting credits. She has 10 directing projects, and North to Home was her first project for Hallmark. She also served as the director mentor on last year's Finding Mr. Christmas reality series.
Lindsay Fonseca plays younger sister Posey. Lindsay is a Hallmark staple these days, starring in hits like The Magic of Lemon Drops, Where Are You Christmas, and Holiday Crashers as part of her 53-movie resume.
Kimberly Sustad co-stars as Sister Beth. Kim had a stellar 2024, both writing and appearing in 3 Wiser Men and a Boy, and starring in the smash hit The Santa Claus. North to Home is just one of her 49 acting credits.
Erica Durrance plays Boss Babe Sister Hannah. Erica has 43 acting credits, which include Hallmark projects like Unexpected Grace and We Need a Little Christmas.
Tom Stevens plays Luke. Tom's Hallmark experience began with a role on the series Cedar Cove and has gone on to include an Aurora Teagarden mystery. The rest of his 45 acting credits include a variety of roles, including sci-fi projects like The 100, Battlestar Galactica, and Wayward Pines.
Barbara Nevin appears as Suzanne. Barbara brings acting chops, earned over 115 acting credits to the role. She can be seen regularly reprising her role as Dolores in the Hannah Swenson Mysteries.
Fred Keating plays Suzanne's husband, Stuart. Fred also has a long resume featuring 116 projects. He's been in a number of Hallmark projects through the years, including Mystery 101 and Christmas in Evergreen. Bells Are Ringing.
Matt Hamilton plays Beth's husband, Jason. We know Matt from his roles like Mark Leclerc from the 3 Wise Men franchise and Officer Newton from The Cases of Mystery Lane, as well as appearing in The Wish Swap as part of his 66 acting credits.
Matthew James Dowden plays Adam. Matthew has entirely too many Hallmark credits to name on his list of 34. However, you might recognize him as Pastor McGregor from The Chicken Sisters.
Thank you for this note, because while I watched this movie, I was like,
Who is
this
he?
guy?
Yep.
I know this guy. Mila Morgan plays older daughter Melly. Mila has 8 acting credits, and for Hallmark, she's also appeared in The Holiday Sitter.
Mila Jones as Ruby has made quite a name for herself in the Hallmark universe. She played a young Minetti Hanahan in Holidays, as well as the childhood version of Autumn Reeser's character in Junebug. At just 9 years old, she has 22 acting credits already under her belt. We are going to take a quick break and come right back with First Impressions. Hey, Wendy, what's your first impression of North to Home?
Well, I'm going to throw it way back.
Okay.
I'm going to declare that this felt like a real movie.
Oh,
What did you think?
that's a deep cut in case in Wendy's Hallmark hater days, that was her stamp of approval.
Yeah, totally.
Also kind of a deep cut. My first impression is this movie is really leaning into the movies and misery moniker.
100%.
What did you like about North to Home?
I'm afraid you didn't like it considering that first
Let
impression.
me tell you my first like, and then you'll get an idea.
Okay.
My first like is this is a stunner of a movie. This cast is an embarrassment of riches.
Right?
Yes.
It was really good. I can't believe this is the first time we're seeing it, too.
You know, it's come up so many times. It comes up in news and notes, and people constantly mention this as a movie we should watch
I'm wondering why we didn't review it.
because it was on Movies and Mysteries. And this was a time period we were only doing one.
One movie a month or one movie a week.
Yeah. We hadn't even moved over Girls Gone Hallmark to its own feed at that time.
Okay. Well, I loved that this movie was heavily focused on the sisterhood relationship, the family dynamic. Romance part of it was super secondary in this movie,
Yeah.
which I love when we get a change of pace like that.
Sure.
I really thought, I mean, it did lean into misery quite a bit. I mean, we're talking about dealing with years long grief
Yep.
and how it's affected like these people in their adult lives now, and like them trying to kind of like untangle all of that because their relationships were a little bit strained because of things unsaid
Yeah.
or unspoken. So I think we need more Hallmark movies like this. I don't think they need to all be like fun rom-coms.
Sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So I thought one thing this movie did well were the unconventional reveals of information.
Go on.
So we didn't have a lot of information. At first,
Oh, yeah.
we talk about Suzanne and they reference her as mom, and it's very easy to think that this woman is their mom. And then we see that home video of their mom and they say, I miss her so much.
Right.
But we haven't learned who Suzanne is that they call mom, that they're going home for her birthday. Another circumstance is with Hannah's health when she's trying to get in touch with the doctor. I felt very early on that she was going to find out she was pregnant simply because they were talking about not wanting children. But also I think they're leaning into perhaps her having some sort of health issue. They were trying to lean you down that path. We also have the Luke's mystery motivation and why he was there. I just really enjoyed the way information was revealed to us in this movie.
I thought, especially the death of their parents, I didn't really see that coming. Like I was having a hard time like figuring it out. Like I was like, well, who are these people and how are they all connected? And especially when they show that like flashback scene of Suzanne on the mountain with what are they hiking? They're hiking, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. There I was like, well, is that their mom? Like, I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, it's unclear intentionally.
But I loved it.
Me too.
And then when they discover that Luke is like there for other reasons, I gasped out loud.
Well, me too. And I think that's a reveal, but then the reveal what his reasons were, you know, you assume he's there to expose her.
Yeah.
Because he's kept this secret. And when she apologizes to him, he says, you didn't ruin my life. I've had an amazing life. And she says, I want to hear everything.
Oh my God, I
This
cried.
movie was so lovely. I really, really enjoyed it. I really liked the character of Beth. I found her, it's the Kimberly Sustad character. I thought she was the most personally relatable. She felt like everyone else around her was getting to live the life they want. And she was having a hard time with being, quote, just a mom and worried about what her future looks like and her next steps and finding things that are important to her. I thought that character was really well represented.
Well, and to piggyback on that, I liked that there was this strain between her and her husband about you get to be like the fun parent and I'm always the bad guy. And I thought it was super relatable.
Right.
Especially as you and I both were stay-at-home moms to little ones.
Well, and I think speaking of her husband, this is a very different Matt Hamilton than we've seen in the past.
God, when they showed that was her husband, I was like, Matt Hamilton's in this?
Yeah, we know him. Look, he's done a ton of work, but his more recent roles, Mark Leclerc, and his role as the police officer in the
Wiser movies.
The Cases of Mystery Lane movies is what I was thinking.
Why am Wiser?
He's Mark Leclerc
there a
in the
lot-
Wiser movies, and then he's the officer in the Cases of Mystery Lane.
Yeah, that's right.
But those are goofy, sillier characters. And he turns all that off. And he's just, he and Beth clash a little bit, but they're ultimately on the same page. They're just trying to figure each other out. He ultimately shows up for her and is supportive of the decisions that she wants to make. And in the beginning, when he realizes she's talking about going back to work, and he kind of is like, whoa, I don't know about this. You're like, ugh, get over it. But he does turn it around. But I really liked this different Matt Hamilton.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in our Facebook group have been calling for him to be a
leading man.
A leading man. I thought Lindsay Fonseca was a true standout in this movie. It reminded me how much I loved her in The Magic of Lemon Drops.
Yeah.
How much I loved that movie. I find her captivating. Like, I am fully invested when she's on screen. And that's not to say that I didn't think that about Kimberly Sesta too. Kim always she always brings her like personal comedic brand to any character that she plays, but she also does dramatic very well.
Yeah.
But I just love Lindsay Fonseca. I think she is just a star.
You talked about how they deal with different kinds of grief long term in this, and I thought they wrote these characters so well. You have Hannah, who kind of leans away from a relationship with her nieces because they remind her of having to take care of her little sisters when they were little.
Right.
And that's obviously a very hard reminder for her. But then on the other hand, you have Beth, who's so risk averse because she lost her parents, and that informs her. And then Posey was so little that she's kind of taken on the burden of like carrying on for her parents, her adoptive parents.
Right.
But has all of these big dreams and doesn't, because she was so little when she lost them, she's less personally affected. It seems like she's not carrying, like she was so loved and cared for by her sisters and by Suzanne that she sees so much opportunity out there. I just think the sisters are written so well.
I do too. But that's a really good point, because the way that Beth and Hannah are kind of weighed down with the death of their parents. Posey, on the other hand, like she feels a little bit stuck, because don't they say like, oh, you're going to take over the cafe and whatever. Like she's weighted down by these adoptive parents a little bit, like their
for sure.
expectations or whatever. That's a good point, Megan.
Hey, thanks. Any more likes?
Yeah, just a few more. Barbara Nevin, she's so good, right? And I know we talk about like, the mom role is going to go to Barbara, but she's really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted anybody else to do it here.
I feel like she would just be like the loveliest person in person. And we got to see a little bit of her in Kansas City, and she's so nice and just loves the fans.
Yeah, the way she spoke, we saw her speak on stage, and she told some stories about her own daughter and her own mother and some personal information. And I thought, oh, you really are this person. And then I went to the meet and greet on our final morning, and she was so like, she looked everybody in the eye and she made these personal connections. She comes across in life as warm and lovely as she does in these movies.
Yeah. I have just one more little, you mentioned about the sisters being written so well. This is a strong drama for Hallmark. And I really loved that there was a nice balance between families dealing with like grief, but there was like restraint behind that, but it was also heartwarming. It was nicely done all around.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, shout out to Allie Liebert for her first
Hallmark.
Hallmark directorial debut here.
They did a lot with the amount of time they had. I felt like they gave the right amount of time to all of these stories, and there's a lot going on. You have multiple situations happening, and it's pretty impressive. They just used the time that they had so wisely.
Yeah.
What did you wish for?
Oh, well, you mentioned it earlier. It's Erica Durance's story of Hannah. It was super obvious to me that she was pregnant at the beginning, and I don't like that they're like throwing up this like her health might be in jeopardy red herring. I don't like that, but I wasn't super invested in her storyline, and I'm not quite sure why. I can't like pinpoint why.
Probably it's the least personally relatable.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's definitely probably it. I think she's a really good actress.
Yeah, me too.
Also, stories like these, this is a super me problem. This is not reflective of the movie at all, but stories that are about siblings who are closely related.
Oh, yeah.
It's foreign to me.
Me too.
I have siblings,
Yeah.
but we have like huge age differences. Like we didn't grow up as little kids together. So like when I'm watching movies where they're like so connected and they would do anything for each other, I'm like, what? I can't relate to it at all. And it's not a slam on the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. It's just a part of it like comes out for me. I start questioning the story. Like, why don't they just, what's the big deal here? Right. What about you?
Real little. First of all, Hannah should have gotten 2 Bugsies. These girls are fighting over this
my gosh.
the entire time, and she hunts one down. I understand it was hard to find, but like if you found one, you could find 2. Get 2.
That's not on my wishes, but I didn't like that part of the story.
Which part of that she got it?
No, that the kids were like fighting over this stuffed animal.
Yeah, that shit happens.
Does it? I have an only child.
Yes. Your kids will find the dumbest thing to argue about that you don't have 2 of, 100%. Especially sisters who were kind of close in age and like some of the same stuff. Yes, absolutely. She should have gotten 2.
Yeah.
And I know like, oh, they need to learn to share. Whatever. Just sometimes you just have to solve the problem in front of you. The other one, this solves itself, but in my notes, I was like, I just need Beth to set some boundaries with Karina. When Karina was asking her to come back to work, I just kept thinking, Beth, you have the upper hand in this situation. She wants you. So you need to be like, look, if I am as good as you say I am, you need to give me time and you need to give me space. And I am not answering my phone after 6 p.m. I am not answering my phone to you when I'm on a trip with my family. Set some boundaries.
Yeah. I have a question back to the bunny rabbit. If you're Beth and your husband's like, I got it. Me and the kids are traveling together. It ultimately falls on his shoulders that he lost this stuffed animal, which is like their pride and joy, obviously. Are you pissed to high hell?
I'm probably annoyed, but shit does happen. It's not like I've never
You're so
lost
nice.
anything. Oh no, I'd be annoyed. But the reality is, have I lost things?
Yeah, I know, but this is like the stuffed animal.
Yeah, pay attention. Make sure you got Bugsy before you get off the plane.
I mean, he was trying to step in and be like, yeah, I got it. Go take your time that you need.
Yeah, but you don't got it.
You don't got it, dude. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. All right. Did you see that?
I do.
Okay. I have only one, and it's
Okay.
more of a little comment. Melly and the 2 kids, Melly and Ruby, like I already said, like I didn't love, like all their like fighting and whatever, but I'll be damned. The cutest freaking scene when they're making these sugar cookies or whatever, frosting these cookies, and the girl who was in Junebug, Mila Jones, she's like, I'm a sugar cookie or what? I don't remember what the
She's
line
covered
was,
in frosting.
but she was so damn cute.
Yeah, real cute.
Really cute.
And then Beth is like a buzzkill, and she's like, "Oh, you were paying attention to my kids."
I am Beth. That would be me. I'd be like, why is there a mess everywhere? Yeah.
She wasn't mad about the mess. She was mad that she had taken her eyes off of them and something bad could have happened in that moment.
Again, I'm Beth.
Yeah, me too. Okay, most of mine are just comments. One, when they are axe throwing in a wide open arena, no, that's terrifying. Like, all you need is someone to be having a bad day and turn around and throw that axe in the wrong direction. Maxie the dog in the opening scene, that's my Cooper right there. Real cute. I was like, that's my dog. Did you notice? No.
I didn't.
In the beginning of the movie, Erica Durance is wearing earbuds that are enormous. Like she's wearing an entire cell phone in her ear. It's just a sign of 3 years ago, earbuds hadn't quite shrunk to the size
I didn't notice.
they're big. I thought they were big.
It wasn't like a phone situation. Like,
No, it was like
you know,
it was like an earbud situation. It just looked big to me. And finally, this is the only mildly true to just see that during the spicy chili scene. When I believe it's Luke who's coughing. I believe it's Luke who has to eat the chili as the punishment. The noise of the coughs do not line up with the motion of the coughs.
Perfect. That is a true. Did you see that? Love it.
What did you rate North to Home?
Well, it's a fan favorite for a reason. I give it 4.75 stars.
I gave it 5 stars. Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. If you love this podcast, we love your 5-star ratings and reviews, and you can leave them directly in the Apple Podcast app, even if that's not the app you use to listen to this podcast. We'll be back with more Hallmark reviews. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.